just to say the word magic, doesn't it just make you happy?
Mm-hmm. It does.
It's like possibility. And that really, at the end of the day, is all possibility and opening your mind and seeing things in a different ways. Hi, welcome back this week to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
We have a wonderful show for you today.
We do.
This is part 2 from our last show.
Yes.
Which is, let's call it
manifestation.
Manifestation.
The magic of manifestation, question mark? I like that. No, exclamation point. The magic of manifestation.
I wanted to start it out with, instead of our regular music, it's magic.
Yeah.
But I guess you can't really do that because you have like
copyrights and
copyright
things.
and stuff like that.
But it is magic.
It is
And it's
magic.
okay to say that because my understanding is magic is just another technology that we don't have the names for. We don't have tools to measure it, except to look back and go, wow, there's some coincidences there that I cannot explain. There has been magic happen in my life before. That's really the only evidence I have. I'm just going to move forward expecting more of that.
I think too, one of the definition of manifestation is really just moving into something that you deserve, because we're all deserving. I mean, there is no deserving. I mean, you're just here having an
moving into
experience.
something that maybe you were holding yourself back from, or that other people had convinced you couldn't do or have.
Your limiting beliefs, that's terrifying.
Limiting
I mean, how we
beliefs.
come in with that, little kids were told, you can't do that, or you're not smart enough, or
Our family never did that. You're not going to, or we've always been this way. This is how you're always going to be.
I got that all the time. Like
All the time.
In my med school interviews, my residency interviews. Well, was your dad a doctor?
Right.
Was your grandfather? I mean,
Does that magically
no? Is
have
this like
to
a
make you?
club
Can't I
have to
just
be
choose
in?
that? Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. When I was actually in a job. I was an adult, and I talked about getting another degree, and they looked at me and said, that's not something that you need for this job. And they were looking at me like, do you want to be a fairy princess too? Like, you just want to keep doing that? Like, some of us just enjoy learning things and making ourselves better.
And maybe I don't want to stay in this job. Maybe
I
I'm going
wanna
to find
stay at
another
this
job
That's
that
hard
does
to say to your
that.
boss. Really? You think I want to stay here forever? I mean, okay, I want to stay here forever. Yeah, no.
I think it's easy. A lot of this, just when you move away from, and I think magic is just something we didn't expect.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Can't
Something
explain
we
it.
can't
Didn't
explain
expect
didn't
it.
expect
We're going to label it magic.
I mean, it's okay if a magician's pulling rabbits out of its hat,
Right.
because I think that's not real. But when you have to stop and think that something bigger than yourself, outside of yourself, call it God, whatever you want to call it, universe, the source, whatever you want to call it, when you have to stop and think about something bigger than outside yourself, that limitlessness is almost scary.
It is almost scary. And the fact that the way that we tend to set goals is we put something really big and outside of us, far away from us. There's all this gray area in the middle. We get scared. We forget that it's just a bunch of little steps along the way. And we forget that there's help in every story. Magic has been involved. You just have to expect some magical things are going to happen while I'm doing this. And then as we've learned, pick up some tools that help to facilitate that magic.
I really find that when I get overwhelmed, or I get scared, or I think things aren't happening fast enough or for me, I just get busy.
Yeah.
I just get busy. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, I just do something. And then I look, and this is kind of crazy. I had an experience just not long ago, and I just always have so many things going. And so I created a website, and it's gym clothes that are blingy. So it's gym bling, right? And so nothing was happening. It wasn't getting any traction. I was trying to advertise it. Just, it wasn't really doing, a few trickle sales. It just wasn't doing anything. And I had created that out of my supplement company, the weight loss supplement company, the Carb Melt that I had. We had a big supplier issue, and we were totally out of our fat burner, which is our main thing.
The thing, yes.
I mean, it was the carb control, our main thing we were out. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something else. I just got to stay busy. Not like I don't stay busy enough, but So anyway, I create this, I learn how to do all this, I learn a lot of website design and stuff, and so I spent my whole summer doing that. And then just a few weeks ago, I thought, you know what, I have so much going on, I'm gonna have to let something go. And that's okay sometimes, you just say, no, I gotta let something go.
You have to pare back a bit.
And I almost shut it down. And in fact, I had another idea and I was gonna move it over to that website. And I started to overwrite the program and something said, don't do it. And I didn't overwrite the program. I just left it. I thought, I'm gonna breathe through this because I'm kind of reactive sometimes. I'm like, I move fast.
I'm just gonna let some energy play out. You had a little intuition moment. So first of all, asterisk, congratulations for listening to your intuition.
So it wasn't like a week later until a friend of mine said, hey, we know these guys who have some athletic wear. They don't really like their name, their brand. They're looking for something else. I showed them that website and they're interested. Wow. And so we're still in talks. New opportunity.
Right.
So it's just like, had I shut that down and moved away from that, you know, those opportunities
this opportunity wouldn't have come up. So if you had been impatient and dissatisfied and took action based on that without taking a step back and letting that intuition talk to you for a moment, you may not have had this opportunity. Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, so, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Positive outcome of listening for a moment.
Yeah, and I stepped away from it. I was kind of angry at it because it wasn't working, and it's because I had 10 other things going. I really wasn't, you know, dedicated to it. But yeah, magic, right? Because I had totally forgotten that I even had that website, and then somebody wants it. So it's nuts. And just because we can't explain it.
Something valuable.
Yeah, but you do the work, you get busy, and stuff shows up. They're saying it's time for a little break. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back with the Naked Doctor and talk about magic. Welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And I'm Chrissy.
This is just such a fun show. They're all fun.
It really is. It's a magical show.
It's a magical show.
By the way, that's my tag on YouTube for those of you who would like some of these tools that I talk about that I build. Low-key magical with a K on YouTube. I love that. That's me coming out of the magical closet because I was one of those people that had always felt this thread of how come all of our fairy tales have this wonderful magical quality to it that I don't see in my everyday life? I always was so into the Wizard of Oz and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, anything that was about like an alternate Wrinkle in Time, books like that.
Oh yeah, we love it.
That had imagination and alternate universe, and I would I didn't know that I was learning how to meditate when I was little, but I knew that I could escape in my imagination, so I would imagine that I found a closet or crawled into a fireplace and that there was a magical land on the other side. And it took being an adult to realize that I had been using some of these tools over time to make myself better, and that some of those tools were considered, right, if we had been practicing these things a few hundred years ago, we would have been in big trouble for that. But again, I feel like a lot of these things that come to us naturally, especially as women, we're such creative beings, that there's a little bit of that. We create babies in our bellies. Yeah, when they say that an animal is exhibiting something instinctual, I think that we have some of those instinctual practices in us of how to raise our kids and how to be better people and how to get things done and how to raise great plants, right? That we're just really starting to access, and some of that is consciousness that I think has been tamped down in us so that we were better able to, you know, be controlled and work in little offices or whatever it is that it's been. And that's kind of waking up in us that it's okay to access those things. It's okay to listen to intuition, right? It's okay to pay attention to the seasons and how our bodies change with that, and to look at some of that knowledge that's been collected that's so old that we were told was bad for one reason or another.
For control.
Just to say,
Yeah,
right, for control, because if you have access, if you have better understanding of your own energetic ebbs and flows, which tie into hormones so beautifully.
Oh yeah, things
beautifully.
become hormone changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That you can ride that and feel more control over who you are and your environment, and be in tune with nature. You're really hard to control. You are a wild woman at that point.
Yeah.
And, I want to be that
Unstoppable.
wild woman. And that's me embracing the magic in my life. Is I become more in tune with those energetic ebbs and flows by using some tools, some very old tools, and then I have my other foot in the real world. I talk to you. We talk about our hormones. We talk about how to, do the real things in the real world. And then we weave those two things magically. What is that medical, what is that called? The caduceus that has the snakes?
Oh, the snake
yes,
on
we
it. Yeah,
weave those things together beautifully like that to create our lives. And I think you and I are doing very well. We're two very healthy people who are on great tracks creating what we want to do. And we want to share that. Share how to do that. Share these tools. They don't have to be scary. It's just you taking the reins.
I feel like so much of what we do when we embrace spirituality, or you call it universe, God, whatever you know what your term is for that, is undoing a lot of narrative. And that's kind of the naked doctor, the naked truth is about health and spirituality. And it's like, we spend so much time as an adult undoing a lot of things. So I think this is fascinating that from a scientific standpoint, the first 6 years of our life, we are in something called a theta wave state. It's a dream state. And you're just a sponge. And
you just receive and accept. There is no question. You receive and accept. This is building, just like with an AI when they bring an AI up. I've got to map my entire reality so that I can understand how to survive within it.
yeah,
So you just accept.
just accept. So all the messages, all the narratives, and we use for control of children, and they need to be safe. So but we inject fear, and so we use lots of different things, and undoing that as an adult. And one of those things is that, spirituality is much bigger than any human brain can comprehend.
Yes.
That healing and miracles, people don't even really believe in miracles, and a miracle's just getting out of your own way.
Again, something
and
that we can't really explain.
happening. Yeah.
I found another way to heal myself that wasn't the usual way, and that got labeled as a miracle simply because we don't understand that. Miracles can happen to us all the time.
And okay, let's just kind of pull back a little bit. We were talking on one show about our cell phones. They're literally a little plastic box with glass on it with a bunch of little diodes and stuff in it. And I can do this, and I don't even have to talk to anybody. I can do this, and someone halfway around the world can know what I'm thinking just because I just did this.
Planetary telepathy, just right here, and we take that for granted like that's not a miracle. That's
Had another generation or 100 years ago in Salem,
that would have been heresy
burned
right there.
heresy.
See these pictures of cats? You are a witch. That's exactly right.
And now we have this technology that's just,
every day.
And AI, you mentioned AI.
Right. And it's just every day. It's
unbelievable.
Just every day.
I mean, I even heard that AI can do a thing where you just kind of do a few inputs and it can create a 300-page novel.
I have played with that. It is
nuts.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make the real, let's say this, because this is really important for those of us that are creators, that create deliberately. It's going to be important now for us to start creating real human things with our hands, because things like that are going to be so easy to just create with a crank. That content and meaningful value created by human hands is going to be a commodity. I mean, I really do feel like that's going to be, you really made this? It wasn't an AI? Yes, I really made this. It's expensive. Right?
It's expensive.
Yeah, because the AI can just crank out that stuff, really creating. And what is that going to leave for you? Maybe essay writing isn't your thing. Now you've got to create something new because AI is changing that format for us. It's changing our landscape so quickly. We want to roll with that. We want to be flexible, right?
It's so easy for me to think about that stuff and get scared because that's our reflex.
Right.
When there's something we don't understand, it's a threat. And we get
That's where
scared.
we flow like water.
But then I just kind of step back and say, my son's generation, that next generation, it's kind of like cell phones for us. It's kind of like wheels on a car to people who didn't have, cavemen who didn't have wheels. They will adapt.
They will adapt.
Somehow they
we
will
adapted
adapt.
to computers. Now, we were the generation that computers were not here. And then when I was in high school, that's when they really started to show up prevalently. I had members of my family that were very into building computers, so I had access to them early. And my grandmother, just bless her, she did not understand computers, but she knew that this was something that was going to be important. So she gave us money before college to make sure that we could invest in a computer that we could use together, and it gave us all a leg up. She didn't understand it, but she was willing to invest in the next generation understanding it, and it benefited more than just her. So I try to have the same view that my grandma did about the things that I don't quite understand. Even though maybe I'm a little scared of AI and there are some things coming online that I can really just step back and go, whew, I don't even know what it's gonna be like tomorrow. I gotta trust that the new people that are coming in are gonna get that and give them everything they need to succeed.
Yeah, I agree. All right, they're saying it's time for a little break. We're going to come back in just a minute, and I'm going to tell you why I'm scared of AI. And then we can talk down off that ledge a little bit. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we are talking about magic.
We are talking about magic.
I, kind of said before we took a break that I think it's a wonderful thing with AI and a scary thing with AI.
Right.
And it seems very like magic to us. So we have something that is present that we can't question anymore, just like cell phones. That seems like magic. And then yet they're here. So I think one of my concerns about AI is that they are already trying to take the humanness away. I mean, it's enough that they're going to be making our burgers and the machines are going to be putting our cars together. But now they're talking about literally putting, I think it's called Neuralink or something, they're literally talking about putting chips into your head. When I first heard that, I thought, oh my gosh, because when we think of control, when we think of chips in our body, we're like, holy crap.
Like, oh my gosh, it's the Matrix, for real.
But Elon Musk's statement about that is that how are we going to compete with AI if we don't have instant access?
Right.
And so to me, I actually started shifting my thinking. Now, I'm not, gung-ho to go get a chip in my head, but here's my thought is that imagine that you're in the business world. You've been in insurance, you've been in all sorts of things, and you've just decided that cell phones are bad. And so you're not going to have one. Or you've decided that computers are evil because it's something that you don't understand. How are you going to compete without a cell phone and computer?
That just becomes you are making a choice to make a change in your entire lifestyle, and that's probably going to include a change in a job as well. There are just some things that if you are a musician and you refuse to sing or pick up an instrument, why are you in the band? So exactly, that's what's going to happen. But people will have to make, and we've made those decisions before. Again, in the Industrial Revolution, it was the same thing. There were things happening that were magic, and unfortunately, we had little kids working long hours, and we had to make changes. And I am one of those people that do believe that, again, there's going to be some magic happening, why not? But that magic comes down in how we work our energy and make our decisions. If we see things that do not please us, again, you put that filter on to where I'm going to be the person that helps with this. I'm going to be the person that feels good about what's happening next. How do I use the magic in my life to feel good about a world that's changing so fast that I can't, my little rectangle can't even keep up with what's happening out there? And that's when we take that opposite stance and go, all right, I've got to relax in the moment. I've got to feel satisfied with where I am, not anxious. And then I've got to change my filters so that I can take the next step in front of me. And maybe that next step in front of you is putting the phone down for a little bit, relaxing your mind, closing the apps that are running in the background up here, okay, and understanding that when I take my next step, I'm going to know that maybe an investment opportunity comes up that I realize is tied to something I don't like, so I let that go. Or maybe a product that I've been buying I realize is distasteful, so I don't choose that. Those tiny choices that we make. Maybe instead of using an AI, when I get that choice, I use the person. Maybe I can determine how I use this AI, how I treat it, how it's going to be involved in my life. Or I say no to the chip in my head. However that works, we don't have to be anxious about these big choices that feel like they're happening to us. We just get focused so that we make our own choices where things begin to shape our space the way that it works best for us. I mean, that's how you make a grassroots change, correct? Every time. It has to start with you. And what did they say before? Change has always come from outliers. Always. People that are doing things radically differently are the ones that create change. Is that magic? Or is it just that we've learned how to harness the energy, see things coming that we don't like and get out of the way, or help other people realize when things aren't going the direction that it should be going?
You know, I've experienced in my life too, there were times when I was like super resistant to change. I didn't want to look at it. I'm like, no, I'm good. This is the way it is. Even things like, you have to start asking questions. That's the biggest thing. You are okay to ask questions. Even though we're children, we're in that theta state, we're told not to ask questions. We're just told to do our homework, to stay in our rooms, behave.
That your opinion doesn't matter. Your job is to just be quiet and get over there. Right, as adults, it's okay to say, what is this?
What is this? Why am I doing this?
How can I understand this better?
What am I eating? What am I putting in my body? And so, you know, it's just kind of nuts, the things that I have changed my mind about, like cannabis. You know, it was like when it first got presented in Arkansas 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, oh no, good girls don't smoke weed. You know, and then I'm like, well, before I say I'm not going to do those cert letters, let me look at what the science is. And I looked at the science, and it is a plant that's been around for thousands of years. It's a God-made plant that grows in the backyard. Has so many medicinal properties to it. It's just, you know, people, they say it's a gateway drug. All these myths.
It was magic, and then it was demonized, and now it's magic again. Interesting how that happens.
So, you know, I'm doing my research, and I will tell you that over the 4 or 5 years we've had it, and doing medical certifications for people, it is a gateway drug. One of the myths is it's a gateway drug onto other things. I've had people get off alcohol. Every time I do renewals, most of the time, 99% of the time, they say they haven't needed big pharma, they've gotten off antidepressants, and they're sleeping better, and it has anti-inflammatory properties, anti-cancer properties. So it's just like, I'm just like, yeah, you know, we do renewals, and I'm like, you know, it seems useless really, because I'm like, I know you haven't had any changes since last year because you're doing so well.
Yes.
Good. So yeah, I
think it's fantastic that you can look at things and change your mind, because it's that inflexibility that keeps us from progressing, correct? But it's also okay when things are changing so quickly that you don't feel comfortable to say, I've got to know more about this. And that's what you did. You didn't just go blanketly, oh, the internet is telling me that cannabis is good now. You didn't do that. You still did your own research and made your own decision, and you were flexible enough to change your mind. But you didn't panic and go, oh, this is the end of the world because now cannabis is legal. Right. So we can apply that to a lot of things, even though they may look big, because again, your rectangle blows a lot of things out of proportion. That you still, there's not a robot knocking on my door trying to take my job today. I'm still okay. So I'm going to keep making decisions in the direction of what I want and how I want to live my life. Magic included.
Well, the cute guy behind the camera is saying it's time for a break, so we got to keep the lights on. So I guess we'll step out just a minute. We'll be right back. The world of hyperbaric medicine is absolutely amazing. It's been around for more than 60 years, but what it does is hyper means more than, and baric is pressure. So it creates a pressure environment where oxygen can actually get into the cells. I think it should be used in every aspect of healing strokes, Parkinson's, I mean, so many uses as well as injuries, because what you need when you injure yourself is to increase blood flow to that area. I had a good friend with a burn on his hand after 3 dives. It was a 3rd-degree burn. Now, after a couple weeks, you can't, and this was only 3 dives, you can't even see where the blister was. I've seen neurological injuries, brachial plexus injuries with no movement and complete atrophy of the muscles, getting movement back within 3 days. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, I always hate it when the time is up.
I know, our conversations are so good.
Oh, it's so fun. Well, we carry them on outside of here
we
too,
always do.
so you could be a fly on the wall, I guess, and come hang out.
Sometime we'll do like a behind the scenes,
Yes.
or do we want to do that?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I've actually seen some bloopers of myself on several occasions. It's like, do not do a blooper show. I'm going to have I'm gonna have to hide somewhere away from society.
It was fun to talk about magic today.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh, and is it just to say the word magic, doesn't it just make you happy?
It does.
It's like possibility. And that really at the end of the day is all possibility and opening your mind and seeing things in a different way. So hopefully we've helped you do that a little bit today.
Include some magic in your life.
Include some magic in your life and just belief.
Absolutely.
That takes
and
a
if
lot.
you'd like some tools on how to do that, you can contact me as well. And my contact information is always going to be posted where our videos are posted. And on Facebook, I am Christina Smart, or Low-Key Magical with a K. And you can always message me on Facebook.
The magical.
Magical, M-A-G-I-C-K-A-L.
Okay.
And low-key because I've always been practicing. I just haven't always been practicing out in the open. I was in the magical closet, as they say. But now I'm out and I'm sharing the tools that have worked for me and helping people have good, deep conversations. I always say energy work is not a substitute for therapy. It's more like a really good conversation with a friend that helps you get to the bottom of things.
And you still have room on your schedule for new clients?
I do. I still have
good.
room. I don't expect that room to stay open very long, but I do have room for new clients, yes.
Nice, nice. Yeah, if you just want to have a conversation with a good friend, you've been my good friend for how long?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how old are our kids. It's been longer than that.
18 years? Oh,
So
wow.
it's been like 20 or 20. Yeah, it's been a while.
I never even thought about how long.
Yeah, and we've been assisting each other all this time, and look at what we've created. So
and you just have people in your life. Sometimes I'm like, where did I even meet?
Yeah, how long?
When
You've
was
been
the
such a
first time?
staple. I don't even know where
How
it
many
started.
lifetimes has
Yes.
it been?
Oh,
I
we
don't
thought about
know.
that too. We've probably been entangled for a bit.
A bit. All right, we love you all very much. We hope you have a magical week, and we'll see you back here next time on The Naked Doctor.